You are listening to the Milan Weekly Podcast, the English voice of Radio Rossonera and Milan fans all over the world.
Sensational from him. Rafael Leao produces a moment of utter magic.
I don't know. Was it off on your side? The video just stopped playing. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Good evening. I have no idea what went on, but yes. Gio says he's still drunk from the Lakers. Congratulations to the Lakers. Steve, did you watch that from the NBA bubble?
We watched it.
Very nice. And we're going to be talking about bubble because there have been talks about that. And guys, let me know about the repeaters. Wi-Fi is on fire. Should be all good from now. Let us know. I'm just going to wait a couple of minutes. Thank you. Hello to everybody. Hello to everybody on the comments on YouTube. Happy Thanksgiving to our Canadian friends from David. Yes, thank you very much. Happy Taquino Day. Steve, did you have any turkey today?
No turkey for me. We had chicken yesterday in the air fryer.
And how is the air fryer?
Very good. What an invention.
Yeah. I gotta get myself one, yeah. But yeah, even us, not more like, just a bit of everything eating, but no official turkey. It's kind of hard with everybody staying home, and we were not allowed to go around in family gatherings and everything. But yes, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. And Steve, no music today because we're gonna get banned soon from YouTube. I know Presidente had given me Mario. I don't even know where to find that music there. We'll have it ready for next one unless you have it there handy.
No,
but no music, guys. We keep on getting these strikes against us on YouTube. So sorry, guys. So can do. So are we ready?
Yes.
Yeah, and to Gio, on Patreon, Gio, you have to understand that 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I try to accommodate the European guys. 5 o'clock for Stevie P, not gonna happen. So next time we do one at 8:30, 9 o'clock. I know Gio, it's always good times there, but we got some ideas, so stay tuned.
Yeah.
Cari amici sportivi, welcome yet to another edition of the Milan Weekly Podcast. Here, where we talk everything Milan. From a maybe NBA style bubble Milan, and where we have not had any Serie A Milan, but Ibra is back, and we're not professionals,
nor do we pretend to be.
Good evening to all guys. So yes, it's been even though with no Serie A this week, Steve, we still a lot of things going on in Serie A. I know I don't know if you had the chance to watch Italy this week. I know they were playing yesterday. Played Poland. I was able to watch a little bit. How about you?
Yeah, I watched it.
And your thoughts of Italy this week?
Guys, again, I'm not going to hide the fact that I find it absolutely ridiculous that we're playing these games, to be very honest with you. So I'm watching them just because I love soccer. But to be very honest with you, guys, it's really completely and utterly stupid that we're playing these games.
Yeah, a Nations League like this could have been just, Anyways, it's this is a discussion for another time, but still haven't lost, and but I was expecting them to maybe win. Was it on Sunday they played? I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
against Poland.
So, guys, let's get into it right now. We had some great news of. Ibra testing negative for due tamponi, as they were saying, and Duarte no. Duarte still positive to COVID, and we've had Romagnoli back in training. Ibra's back in training. We've had Diaz saying that he's gonna cut his hair a la Theo Hernandez if they make Champions League. A quite entertaining week, and we're gonna take a look at headlines after. Steve, I know we from Patreon, and thank you to our new member Ryan Ryan's from Trinidad, Steve. It's fantastic to to get people from around the world. Thank you to him. We only had one question, unfortunately, on Patreon that came from Peter and Gigi Lapatat asking us a similar question on Twitter. Asking us, what are we expecting result-wise? What are our chances with the COVID, with, now, grande problema, Steve. Even Ashley Young, because he was going to make the starting lineup, right? Getting COVID there at Inter. If we end up winning, is there going to be like an asterisk, this and that? Because it's, in the end, look, everybody has to deal with it, right? And it looks like we're going to be playing. Have your feelings changed from since last week? We're giving maybe the edge to Inter because they still have quite the team, do they not?
They do, but I read something also very funny. Like 13 of the 14 players will only be back in Italy the Thursday. So they have Thursday, Friday, and they have, well, don't count Thursday, but they have Friday, Saturday to basically get accustomed. And I know that they have a lot of South American players. Lautaro Martinez is going to start for Argentina. Vinny, to be very honest with you, again, the derby is always the derby, and we're not gonna hide that fact. I want to be a realist. I don't want to be negative. I think they still have the edge. There's no asterisks for me in the derby. The derby you play, and let's get it on, right? So, we're getting back Romagnoli, but we lost Gabbia, and I think today I read Tonali's positive to COVID. So we're losing players, not at the rate that Inter's losing players, but we're still gonna play that match. I don't think Serie A is gonna make a decision because they have absolutely no testicular fortitude to make that decision, and we'll see what plays out in the game. But I think the edge is still towards Inter right now until we end up knocking them off.
Exactly, and you bring up a good point. Some people were writing about it. The fear of all these players coming back. You saw the under-21 Italy, Steve, that they had too many cases, and it was actually the under-20 that's going to be playing. I don't know. Like, I'm assuming everybody's following protocol, and that they're going to be testing here. Supposedly, Wednesday we're getting the final result of this whole Juventus-Napoli saga. In the end, Steve, they should not, let's just say a couple more players from Inter or a couple from Milan, they should not postpone this game. They need to go ahead with this. It's like, I know it's a hard decision, but in the end, you have players. If you have to bring up some Primavera, you need to play this game. Am I wrong, or?
No, I disagree. I don't think you have to play this game. I think the Serie A has to get a little bit of their ship in order because it's not in order. And the people want to see the best players on each team. Yes, I get it. I see if Frank is saying treat COVID like an injury. Unfortunately, Frank, you cannot treat it like an injury. It's not an injury. It's a pandemic. It's a virus. An injury, if I twist my ankle, I'm not passing my twisted ankle to you, Vinny.
Yeah, he's more saying it like, treat it like an injury, like win or lose, the result will count.
Yeah, but you're not getting the best players. We're not getting the best players on the pitch.
So you would not take a derby with, I don't know, 3-4 Primavera players with the regular starters?
No, that's you can't do that. This is all things that in the end will make a humongous difference whether a team qualifies for Champions League or not. And that's big money. You're playing with people's pockets now.
Yeah.
And not only that, you're playing with people's health. Like, I get it. It feels good to see soccer. I like seeing soccer. I enjoy. I'm surprisingly enjoying it without fans, which I would love the fans to get back. But at the expense of the players and the expense of a watered down derby, I'm sorry, guys. I might be the unpopular opinion here. I don't want to see that. I don't think it's fair it's not Genoa's fault that they have 14 players with COVID, and they're gonna have to play potentially a game with their Primavera. Let's say, hypothesis. Okay. We fast forward to the end of the season, and Genoa doesn't survive and goes down because of 3 points. The 3 points that they lose because they played with their Primavera team.
Yeah.
Let's say, I'll give you an example again. Let's say we play this derby, and I'll be selfish because just Inter has more cases than we do. Let's say Inter doesn't win the Scudetto because of 3 points because of this derby match. And I'm saying, am I going to be happy that they don't win the Scudetto? Sure. But in the end, it's not fair, right? Or Milan doesn't make the Champions League because of 3 points.
Are you with David saying, like, it has to be all or nothing, so suspend the league if the numbers get too high, like, just postpone the league for a month? You think you would take that? I wouldn't mind, like, don't postpone it for like 3-4 months. If you have to postpone it for 2 weeks, for 3 weeks, but then it screws up in the whole scheduling, right? So there's no...
Yeah, but the scheduling is always the excuse of Serie A. It's the excuse. We talked about it last week. It's constantly the excuse of Serie A. The scheduling. Guys, the NFL does it. The Major League Baseball does it. Everybody does it. The people know now. There's a Tuesday night game in football. I can't even remember the last time if there was even ever a Tuesday night game in football. But they have no choice.
And, let's put it this way. Do you like the idea of going with the NBA style? Like, on sports media said they were writing about it, saying, like, maybe in that kind of style, not like physically a bubble, but, you're there, you're not moving. I don't know. Yes, guys, I did pay my internet bill. Thank you very much. Says that the internet is perfect. Would you be open to something like that? I know, like, people, it sucks to be away from your families and everything, but in the end, the show must go on, does it not?
It does, but it's different, right? The bubble in the NBA and the bubble in the NHL were very different. It's not a full calendar year. It's not a full year.
Yeah.
The NBA was shortened. The NHL was a makeshift Mickey Mouse playoff. To be very honest with you, Vinny, 38 days, 36 days, and then if you're in the bubble, let's be clear. Forget about national team and forget about that. Are they ready to do that?
There's a lot of factors that we may be not thinking about it, but they got to come up with some sort of idea, and just to give us fans, say that if we're missing 2 or 3 players, I get it, but like you were saying with Genoa, imagine being a Genoa fan, and it just kind of sucks that you think putting it that way. Imagine you're at the end of the season, you miss it by 3 points, and it's that one game that you play with your Primavera team that you got destroyed. It's a Serie A indoor league, Alessandro's saying. I'm not sure.
I think that would be worse. That would be worse.
Exactly from there, Steve. Let's have a quick look here, if you want to talk a little bit while I get this all set up. Let's see what we have here on. Let's read some headlines, right? Because everybody's been. It seems like even though not all of our fans are Canadians, but everybody was taking the day off today, so not a lot of questions. But we still bring you the content. We definitely still bring you the content. So let me see if we can share the screen here, Steve. Okay, so what do we have here? So we have 29 positive cases. I just wanted to get to the Milan one. So, talking about grande ritorni per il derby, anche Romagnoli. You're still with Steve. The idea of, like, even though Romagnoli hasn't been playing for all these months, you get him on against Inter, even though the Kajar and the Gabbia have been doing not too bad.
Well, you can't play Gabbia because he's positive to COVID, so you have absolutely no choice but to play Romagnoli now.
Exactly. I forgot about that one there. I'm trying to get rid of these. Okay. Anyways, you know what? Let's go with Milan news here. Can you see well on my end here?
Yeah.
So, I see. Very good. So, il Milan è la quinta squadra più costosa in Serie A. So, let's have a look at this article here, Steve, talking about that the 5th most expensive team. So I don't know where they're getting these kind of things. So let me see if I can translate this in English. Talk a little bit, Steve, while I figure out this computer English. fifth most expensive in Serie A. So the rank is authentic to 2019 and adds the cost for the purchase of each player in the squad. Manchester City is the only one to break through the 1 billion euro ceiling, while Juventus is the only one to enter the top 10. Surprisingly, the absence of Bayern Munich, European champions who have been able to set up the strongest team in all more reasonable prices. Just think that Lewandowski came on a free transfer. Mueller grew up in the nursery, and Narbi was paid just 8 million. Limiting ourselves to Italy, Napoli is head of Inter, but above all, Atalanta is just ninth. So if you look at here, Juventus, Napoli, Inter, Roma, Milan at 255, Lazio, Fiorentina. Is that high according to you, Steve? Right there in the middle of the pack. I'm a little surprised that Roma has more money invested in us. I'm not surprised at Inter and Napoli, but really Roma? Maybe I'm not following the stuff as much as I'm supposed to, but that number, is it high for you? What does it look like?
I think it's high. With the now I don't know the article if they're including salary and stuff like that. I think that we've had to overpay, especially in the Mirabelli Fasone campaign there. We had to overpay for transfers because basically the project wasn't something that was very enticing. So were they all bad buys? I still stand by it. I say no. Were there some mistakes? Yes. The thing with Mirabelli and Fasoni, what happened is that it was all in one shot, right? There was this quantity over quality that kind of took us by storm. But in the end, this Hakan Chanaloglu is not a fail, right? If he consistently continues to grow and get comfortable, I think that at a certain point, will they have to sell him? I think yes, you have to make that move, and I think you'll make money. Frank Kessie, everybody who's listened to the podcast knows that we are Frank Kessie, Team Frank, and I think yes, do we have to pay again expensive for him from Atalanta? Yes, but that's Atalanta being smart in selling their players and knowing that Milan needed to purchase him. So they got the money that they wanted to ask for him, right? So
who had shared in the WhatsApp group how much Atalanta made in sales. I'm not talking about profit, but they had sold for over 300 million euros.
It's over 300 million, yeah. Yeah,
it's like where is that money? But hey, if they were able to make that money and still be in the position that they are, kudos to them, right? Not worthy of a dance, but kudos to them. The derby of truth for Çalhanoğlu and Leao, but also for Diaz and Tonali. A defeat would be more serious than a year ago. So I'm just going to read what he's writing here. This is by Alberto Ceruri. The first hope is that we play. Guys, remember this is from Google Translate, so some stuff that doesn't make any sense. The second is that it is the only derby in history without an audience. The third is that it is a good match without referee errors and related controversies. With these certainties that whatever happens, nothing will be decided because we're only at the beginning, and certainly the return match will be more important for the final classification. Given these premises, regardless of the unpleasant count of positive cases on both sides and passing over predictions that are never so risky as in this period, Milan certainly have less to lose than Inter, and this is already an advantage. First of all, because he is already ahead of Inter, and then because absolutely nobody thinks that Pioli's team is technically superior to Conte. He's nailing everything on the head right now, is he not, Steve?
Yeah, he's just, look. I hope
nobody thinks we are technically superior. He's saying that. With reason.
Yeah, with reason. And look, I think they match up pretty evenly. The thing is that not technically superior. Like talent for talent, and if you go for price tag, I get like Inter is more interesting, but for future upside, I think Milan is much more interesting in terms of like what they have to offer now and going into the future. I hope he mentions it after. I didn't read the article there, but
I'm gonna keep on reading. Yeah.
The big thing is depth, right? So like once we pass our first 11, we have a couple of options, and then after that, like the quality really goes down, right? So.
continues by saying, that's why Rossoneri's success or even a draw, they should be considered a positive result for Milan, regardless of the development of the match. The problem, on the contrary, will be a possible defeat, which would be added to the last two, and in particular to the very last two, with a 2-0 loss and overturned into a 4-2. We must not deny, in fact, that after so much optimism between the end of last season and the beginning of this, comforted by the first place with full points and without even a goal conceded, the defeat would open new doubts about the real potential of Milan, which all or almost all consider at least from fourth place. I like what he just. I'm going to reread this, Steve, because I'm afraid of this. Right? Not afraid of the team, but I'm afraid of the reaction of the Twitter the Twitter journalists. Right? That after so much optimism between the end of last season and the beginning of this, comforted by the first place with full points and without even a goal conceded, a defeat would open new doubts about the real potential of Milan, which all or almost all consider at least for a fourth spot. We need to take this game. Seriously. Don't get me wrong there, but how many people will forget that we just went through, last time losing against the Genoa just before they closed down for COVID? Do you think the last all these months will be erased if we lose? Would we lose 1-0 or very badly to Inter? I'm just afraid of the repercussions of online saying we're back to square one.
Yeah, but we can't go with online. I'll be as straightforward as possible. You cannot erase what happened in these past months with one game, whether it be the derby or not, right? At a certain point, guys, let's face it, we don't have a squad of invincibles that's going to go 200 something games without losing a game. We're going to end up losing a game. Do I want to lose the derby? Absolutely not. If we lose the derby or a tie, will I be pissed? Absolutely yes. Will I cry and forever give up on the season? No, because they've done some great things from last year, which was a disaster in terms of the way it started. Then throw in a pandemic, make the run that they did in the last portion of the season, and continue it this year. You can't. I get the Twitter's gonna go crazy, right? It's gonna be a funeral if we lose the derby. But you have to be realist, and you have to be someone who looks at it as a marathon and not a sprint, right? And I try to do that as much as I come on here, and I'm saying this because I've been getting the whole negative stuff, right? You try to say the truth, and people are saying, "Oh, Steve, you're so negative." I had the pleasure to be with David Amoyal, and he asked the tough questions, right? And I give my honest answer. And then even on his channel, it's like, oh my God, this guy is very negative for Milan. It's not being negative, guys. It's being just a realist. Is that the team is the team, and can we do something like Leicester City did? Absolutely. And I'm not comparing Milan with Leicester City. Leicester City will probably never be seen again. But if Milan were to win the Serie A, guys, it would be the title of all titles. It would be the 19th title that we have, but it would be worth 10 because it just doesn't happen that way, right?
I think honestly, and I'm gonna take Zvanko. He actually came to our defense on YouTube that somebody had written that you're negative Nancy, whatever, and he just replied back to saying yeah, we've won, but we haven't won to mean something, right? We haven't. Let's win when it's time to win the fourth spot or to win a trophy, or it was great that there was no pressure. Even on Twitter, somebody was asking us again. I believe it was Concord saying that who was it? Capello did an interview saying it's probably because there's no fans, they don't feel the pressure, and maybe when the fans come back, teams like Milan might not be performing, but. We won without a pressure. We weren't playing for it. We knew we weren't going to get, fourth spot in Serie A. And this is, I believe, our true first test, is it not? So I get why people might perceive you as being negative, but I just see you more. Being negative for me, Steve, would be fuck Milan and they shit and this and that. That's negative. You're trying just to be realist and keeping your feet on the ground and saying this is our first true test. And what we're very happy. extremely happy what they've done since last when we come back in May. Extremely happy. But now it's
Shocked.
counting, huh?
Shocked, not only happy, shocked.
But now this is the time, right? You've shown it to us in Europa League, which we came this close, right? This close to not passing. So that was our first test there, but now we're going against Inter, a team on paper that is better than us. This is our test, and you basically can I say for you that you want meaningful wins where we're like, yeah, you know what, we took out Juventus 4-2. It was a fantastic feeling, but did that hurt Juventus in their Serie A? You want to have some sort of meaning behind these wins. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe if you want to address all the people that are calling you negative.
No, it's just that I don't feel that Milan is at the level to crack that top four. And I'm not afraid to say it. And I think that, the Mercato was something where, a lot of people are saying, oh, he didn't want to waste money on a center back. Guys, there's this new thing that's called COVID that apparently takes you out whether you're playing or you're not playing, right? So a little bit of that was to say, hey, we need someone just in case something happens. Now we have 2 center backs that have COVID. Do we have control over that? No. That's all I really wanted to say, because that's the portion of the pitch that scares me the most. And the fact of the matter is, guys, I don't think right now we are in a position to crack that top 4. I hope, and take the date down, October 12th. I hope that I am terribly wrong, but these games against Inter, whether they're watered down derbies or not, are going to show whether this team wants to win or not. And there's AC Luda that said here, Zlatan doesn't accept defeat, neither should we. Guys, if I have to remind you that the last derby we played, we were winning 2-0 and we lost 4-2. Zlatan was on that pitch. There's only so much that this human being can do. He cannot stop brain farts on the defensive side. He cannot put in that 110% for himself and the other 10 people that are on the pitch. It has to be something that's collective.
And it hurts. And it hurts to say that they are a better team. When was the last time we won, Steve? When what was his name? Scored a header. We had tied that time. What was his name? The Brazilian guy.
Alex.
Alex. I think that's the last time that we won from over there. And it's just that I believe you said that we want to win. I don't think it's a thing of wanting to win. You know what? Just put your stamp down and mean we're here, right? We're gonna beat a team like Inter just to show where we're at, right? And to have that fear come back to the teams that come to the San Siro, whether there's fans or not. We need that fear. And so far, so good. Correct? Just so far, so good. And we just need that enthusiasm and seeing the players the way they talk about each other, not the way Salad Maker's been singing. I don't know if you saw that, Steve, on Instagram. Did you see him sing the karaoke? He's got a very.
I watched it a bit.
But just show us what you were able to do against the Juves of last year against a team like Inter. Right? And even if they want to come out and do excuses that they had COVID, a lot of players, I don't give a shit. Just let's destroy them, right? Actually, you know what, Steve? I'll even take a 1-0 win. But we just need to put a stamp down and go, we are for real. It's the start of the season. We're full of points. We are for real. Take us fucking seriously. Am I wrong?
Yeah, just leave everything out. That's all I expect from them, and I think it's similar to all the other derbies. The Lazio and Roma derby. It's basically leave everything out there, and win or lose or draw, the fans are gonna appreciate that, right? So, and so will I. You understand? Because in the end, these are the games that you have to get by. To your trek to whatever your goal is, right? If it's fourth, if it's the Scudetto, you have to get by, right? So,
exactly.
Inter had a tough game against Lazio where they drew.
Mm-hmm.
They draw points, right? So we move on and we try to keep that advantage and try to continue to build on that, or keep it the same, or build on it, and that's how you start to create separation. But it's consistency. and the consistency from Milan started last year. I just wanted to continue this year. Win, lose, or draw. Just play the way Milan has been playing. That's all. Don't turn into something that you're not.
100%. I like the way you're saying there. We're saying they did a poll. Who will be the surprise among the new arrivals? We're saying Tonali, Diaz, Hoj, and Diogo Dalot. What do you think, Steve? Out of all of these ones, surprised the most? I don't even think I could put Tonali in there because everybody's expecting great stuff of him. But between, I think we spoke about this last week. Would you go with a guy like Diaz or maybe Hoj? Dalot, we haven't seen him, right? So it's not like we can really compare.
Yeah, I can only say Diaz because of just the pint size. Uh, what we've seen of him so far in limited quality and limited quantity, of course, there. But he's the one who interests me the most. But he's also another one of those dry loans where we don't hold the cards.
And here's another article, the situation in the Nerazzurri between recovered players. So this is basically the available ones. If you guys could read, so Andanovic, Padelli, Ranocchia, Darmian, in quarantine, Stix, Skriniar, Gagliardini, Nangolan, Young, and Radu. Those are the guys there. And in the end, guys, look at these players. It's not like we're talking about Lukaku having or Lautaro Martinez having COVID. Yes, Skriniar is a starter. Nangolan is not a starter. Radu is not a starter. Ashley Young is not a starter. Gagliardini sometimes, if I'm not mistaken, Steve.
But I think they're missing one over there. I think Bastoni has...
Bastoni, yes. Bastoni has definitely on that one there. But in the end, we can talk about the sick, but Conte... I don't want to start trashing, Inter, oh, we got them, because Conte is not an idiot and he's going to know exactly what to do, right?
Yeah.
What else do we have here? Yes, and to condolences to Francesco Totti. His father passed away, I believe it was this morning, Steve. But I just didn't like the way they, passed away and he had COVID. He didn't die of COVID, but he had COVID. So I just let, these whole clickbaits and everything, like some people saying he died of COVID and all of this. So, Frank, I don't know. I think it was the translation of Sticks. Hold on a second. Actually, you know what? That makes sense. It's Bastoni. It's Bastoni. Oh, I was right. I'm like, who the hell is Sticks? I love it. What else do we have here? Steve, anything coming up here? The situation. Yeah, my last presence in the national team. So let's go. Let's talk about this one here. Mario Sconcerti, who spoke to Tutto Mercato Web Radio, had his say on the Juventus-Napoli case, a very hot topic that could make decisions on the future of the championship. I think the match will be played again. It seems to me the right solution. The old protocol was passed, at least in words, by the technical scientific committee. The problem is to understand what will be done from now on. For example, what will happen for the next Genoa matches? It is not right they play for the Primavera. If I were in Genoa, I would not go to play. We are in anarchy now. We have gone out of the rules and the clubs have set for themselves. Now we are sailing on side. We do not know what can happen. We are in the hands of the clubs. He's making a lot of sense, right? They have to play this game. And I don't... You know what, Steve? You read up about this stuff a lot more than me. Can you explain to me why there's a discussion about replaying this game or giving u 3-0 a Tavolino? I don't understand. What is the whole big... Why can't they just say, yeah, we're just going to play it another time? Because Juventus was there and they presented themselves?
Yeah, so if you want to listen to guys really give you the appropriate reason on what exactly happened and how stupid it is, you have to listen to the guys from Far From Vesuvius, the Napoli podcast. They really went in depth. But to make a long story short, the thing here is that Napoli got the message not to travel from an agency outside of the control of Serie A, right? So because that Serie A for them, it was all you have a couple of cases, you quarantine and you're supposed to be able to travel. So because Serie A didn't give those directives to Juve that the game was not going to be canceled, Juve fielded a lineup, and Napoli didn't show up, and that's why the 3-0 decision was given to Juve because Napoli doesn't show up now. I'm making it very simple here, but the guys the Napoli fans there, those guys from far from Vesuvius, they're a fantastic podcast on
Raffaele,
Napoli.
yeah.
Raffaele and those guys really give you the real Napolitan side, and they keep it real, right? So it's not all Juventus and we hate Juventus. They actually say the truth. And you guys want to laugh, you guys go to the autogol and you see the plane ride with De Laurentiis, Gattuso, and
They're funny,
Insigne.
those guys.
My God, that was hilarious, man. That was hilarious.
And Steve, I was thinking last time we did try to do like the watch along, we didn't get the blocked off. What would you say in just stopping, maybe watching a 10 minutes of a derby from 2007, 2008? Unless you had something right now, I don't know, like just to see, like to bring us in the mood of these kind of derbies, or unless you had something to talk about, because all these headlines, they're all talking about the same thing. I just wanted to bring a little joy, since this internet is working perfectly fine. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't care.
All right, so and then Presidente is going to tell us off, obviously. But let's see what I can find here, gentlemen. Steve, anybody asking us questions in the comments, let me know. But guys, let's have some fun. Let's bring it back to the good old days. Okay, so I got it right over here. All right. So let's see here. We do this. And how's the video so far, Steve? Is it working fine on your end? Guys in the comments, let us know. This is from 2007, 2008. Look at those players, Steve. I can't wait until we get fans again.
But you're hearing the voice. We're not hearing the voice, by the way, huh?
Oh, you're not hearing the voice?
No.
Oh, hold on a second. Oh, you got to tell me about that stuff. Hold on a second. How do I do that again? Stop screen. Hold on. We got to do that again. Sorry, guys. Let me try this here. Tab. I'd forgotten to better.
Yeah.
The one guy that we respect as an Interista. Look at that hair, Steve.
Si vede che c'è un pizzico di serenità in meno, ma grande concentrazione. Però tante curiosità ha trovato anche Martina Maestri, che vorrei coinvolgere. Martina.
The good old days, the good old days. People looks exactly the way he looked at his final season with Milan. Didn't age.
With a little bit of gray hair.
Look at Ibra. No, his nose is exactly the same size. So Frank says we lost this one. Turn it off. What's the questions? So actually, you know what? I know we what to expect if we're gonna do a watch along. But I know Frank had a question for us, Steve. All right, guys, I understand. Let's turn it off. Sorry. I just wanted to bring a little bit of joy. And yes, you have to go back really in time, Frank, to find a derby that we actually won. All of the center backs we were linked to. Who would you like to see in January? So we did have at least 5 to 10 of them, Steve.
Minimum 10.
Gigi Lapata was asking about. He was saying Milenkovic. What do you think, Steve? Do we need to go get a guy that's been proven, a guy that's going to cost us 20-30 million? Or
20-30 million is a bargain. Where Milenkovic, there's numbers of 40 million, you understand? So it's again, where do they see this partnership? Who do you see as the partner for Romagnoli going forward? And how much are you willing to spend, right? So, the center back from Bologna was interesting. He was tall. He had a different different make than Romagnoli. Plus, he could have played Tumizawi, I think his name was. I don't remember.
What was his name, Steve?
Tumizawi.
Tiramisu.
No, Tiramisu is our backup goaler.
Oh, okay, no, you're talking about the guy from what was his name? The
From
Japanese
Bologna.
guy.
The Japanese guy.
Tomiyasu.
Tomiyasu, he looked a bit interesting, but like not really proven. But every time he played against Milan, he busted, and he was interesting. Let's say to say it the least. But Milinkovic is interesting. He's from Fiorentina. He plays with Fiorentina, and he has played with Fiorentina for a while now. So is he proven? In my books, he's not. But he seems like he has a lot of upside. The other ones they're all a gamble, right?
Exactly.
The Celtic, the one from Lille. These are all guys that you're bringing them in, and you have to.
You're keeping your fingers crossed that they actually pan out, right? And
Yeah.
we can't keep on taking these chances. I'm glad the Kajar came out fine from the chances that we took, but they're not all gonna be like that.
No.
May I remind you of guys like Bertolacci, right? So. Who's asking? Anyone I believe is asking Samu or Salamakers is gonna start. Definitely, Sausage Maker is going to start. Steve Samu is he's showing still the heart, but hasn't been showing a lot of. I don't know. Like he has those. He's got those games, especially at the end of last season, where it just clicked. Right, it just clicked for him running around. And the last couple of games, you can see he puts his all, but definitely Sausage Maker to start, Steve.
Yeah, of the two, it's going to be salad maker, sausage maker. He's going to start.
Definitely. Cyril asking us, do you think Brahim Diaz is a good player for Milan so far? So far, so good. Last game, Steve, we did not play at what we were used to seeing for the first couple of games, but we can't complain, right? I think he's going to be a great player for us, but we can't get really too attached, correct, Steve? Because this guy is on a dry loan. Basil asking, why don't we try Diaz on the right? Who knows? Maybe they are trying them on the training pitch. We'll see where that goes. But I like the nucleus of players where Pioli can maybe switch around some players and play them in different types of positions. Every big club in the world is looking for center back since Van Dijk settled Liverpool's backline. Yeah, and what's the other guy's name, Steve? You're Mark Maguire.
Yeah, my God, that was terrible. Definitely. But that's again a perfect example of what I was trying to explain. When you sell a player inside your own league, you're gonna have to pay the premium. And Manchester United, they had to pay the premium, which was ridiculously stupid, almost $90 million for an average at best center back. Virgil van Dijk, look, guys, I'm not gonna go against the player. I think that he's a good defender. Do I think he's world class? Absolutely not. And I'm going to say that just because Virgil van Dijk probably has the best midfield in the world sitting in front of him and one of the top keepers right behind him who plays the ball. So it's easy to be the best defender in the world when you're practically never getting any dangerous chances created against you. And imagine, just 1 year removed from them winning the title, they had 7 goals put behind them by Aston Villa. 7 goals. That was incredible.
Pretty much, right? So, guys, we're gonna wrap this up on this one. Unfortunately, from a lack of questions, and we did not have Serie A. So, other than talking about, I feel fed up with talking about COVID and Serie A, we just gotta look forward to this derby. I did have some more stuff that we could have been watching, but we're not gonna sit here for another hour. Frank already knows. As soon as he saw a couple, you can't watch this one here. I know I had the Supercoppa Italiana from 2011 when we played it in China. Remember that one, Steve, when we played against Inter? Yeah. But it's too high quality. Can't be there. Who's a world class defender right now? Definitely not Bonucci. Did you see him playing this weekend? Jesus Christ, man. If he doesn't play with Chiellini, it's not for him. Who is a world-class defender, Steve?
Yeah, the game has changed so much that it's very hard to tag someone, especially for me in my books, with the label of world-class.
Sergio Ramos?
Well, look, world class because of what he's won, and I think he's a good defender. I think he rubs people the wrong way, and gets a negative reputation because of that. But right now in his career, no. But
No.
in the past, yes, you know.
Koulibaly? Yeah, Koulibaly is a good.
Yeah, I think Koulibaly is good. I'm not ready to say world class, to be very honest with you,
And
but I
Varane
think
is
he's
a
very
good.
good.
Yeah,
Again, Varane good, very someone
started
who's
off young, right? Even him.
yeah, young, who has more titles than a lot of people before hitting the age of 20. That's for sure.
Marquinhos saying had a really good season. Roque Junior. Is Theo the best fullback in the league? Most probably, but he can't even make the national team, right? And sorry, you know what? I just saw a comment there before. Basil asking, did we discuss the losses of 2020? I know it came out, Steve. Big losses for Milan, big in the red. But how many of this do we have to attribute that there's no fans, right? How many of that revenue? I'm sure it wouldn't have been in the green, but in the end, can we take it that seriously from the numbers that we've seen?
I think soccer has to take it in generally across the board, not only Serie A and not only Milan. Uh, this is gonna hurt the game, you know. And I was just before we got on, I'm gonna just admit it, and be straightforward with everybody. I was reading this article, and I totally got lost track of time about something that the EPL wants to do. It's called the Big Project, and they're thinking about reducing the teams to 18, and then making some changes to the way they distribute money to help these teams. The problem with this big project, and if you guys, I saw it on the score, I can tweet the article. The problem with this big project is that it's being led by Manchester United and Liverpool and Man City, the big six. So what people are afraid of is that this big six will have more than the decision power if this thing goes through, because they'll be sharing some of that revenue across the board. I think like the sharing the revenue will go from like 8% to 25%. So it's humongous, right? The teams and leagues are looking at this now. I'm not going to say it's all for the good of the game, but I think they're generally scared of what's going to happen to soccer if they can't get the fans back, and if they can't get regular people in the seats in the near to short term future. You know, so.
You're saying that the biggest loser after us lost 90 million. How much wasn't Juventus in the red for like over 300 to 400 million euros? But then
Yeah,
because
but
of the
that's
whole sponsorship, it was different. But it's so hard for us to comment on these things
yeah,
because
yeah.
we would need Presidente to talk to us about Milan
Yeah,
Finanza and
and
going
we're
from
not,
there.
and Vinny's 100% right, guys. It's not like we don't want to talk about these things. It's just that there's like 10 articles about the losses, and some people spin it in the, it's cost of doing business. Some people spin it, oh, it was this bad because of COVID. Other people spin it because Elliot wants to be in the red so that they can collect taxes and blah blah blah. Like, I can't. I personally won't jump into this financial stuff. Like, I like talking about things that I can contribute to, and I don't think that I don't think that I can contribute to this calculation, right? So.
And no, Basil, appreciate us trying to getting to talk about this. But yes, well, we're not professionals, nor do we pretend to be. But it's so hard because it's just we read these headlines and it is important, but I wish that we can try to make sense of where these numbers are coming from. And you're making 100% sense. Like, why are we in the red where we were in the positive? But how much of that money was put to the previous debt? There's so many maybe factors that we're not getting, unfortunately.
And that's remember, that's losses, right? Like, it's not something that they cannot pay back. Like, someone's gonna have to pay that back. So it's your business is in the red, but it's kind of being injected by Elliot, and it's not like we have a debt. It's just that we can a business cannot And this is me just being logical. You cannot continuously have negatives like this, and it's not back in the Silvio Berlusconi age where magically we can buy players again next year.
Yeah.
The financial fair play is there for that, so that people uh, are competitive and can be a profitable business in a couple of years' time.
We will get Sabrina. Actually, she is one of our patrons, so maybe we'll do a Patreon special because we'll have Sabrina and Presidente. At least Sabrina can balance out the nasally voice and the monotone of President. But I'm sure we'll get a lot of information from over there and trying to put in layman terms for regular Joes like you guys and Steve and I. So he's saying my only point is that we can't do good mercato for maybe 2 or 3 years. Maybe there's another reason why we didn't go splash that cash of somebody at 20, 30 million, right? And in the end, we're paying for the mistakes. We're paying for the mistakes of 250 million.
Basil needs to know that this year no one can do a good mercato. This year was a mercato of no money and just people using some intelligent ways to, and I'm going to say it again. I'm going to give them credit. The Juve deal, the way it's structured from Fiorentina, guys, if you have to blame anybody for that deal, in the end, you blame for Fiorentina. Fiorentina could have said, hey, no way, I'm not structuring it this way. Give me my money up front. No, there's a 2-year window where it's a loan, and then after it gets kicked in the third year, where I guess Juventus would assume that all this COVID stuff is over, and they're generating money again, right?
So, gentlemen, we got several days to wait for this derby. Keeping your fingers crossed that everybody coming back from the national teams, that nothing bad happens, that we keep on doing what we need to do. And Steve, people might perceive as negative, as this, as that. We're both wishing. The same thing when Gattuso came up as coach. We were called negative when we're trying just to be realistic and say, guys, he's not the next coming of Christ. And we had said it. Please make us eat our words, right? We had said it that time there. But let's win, right? Let's win this game. Let's show what we're made of, right? COVID or no COVID. I'll take a 1-0 win. I'll take a 4-0 bashing. I'll take a comeback win from behind. Steve, at this point, I'll even take a tie if we play well, right? If we play well, let's just show Serie A that when you play Milan, right, we're getting back on track, and we're not going to be a pushover the way we've been in the last 9 to 10 years.
Yeah.
So, anything else, Steve? Anything else on your mind? Actually, you know what? We got to talk about our video. Do you have an indigestion of the week?
I think it's all the people attacking Federico Chiesa's brother on Instagram and social media. That was just pure disgusting. It's not like the kid, it's his fault that his brother decided to sign for Juve. And you know what? That's business, guys. And Europe needs to get out of the Stone Age and come to the 20th century, 21st century, and come to terms that, it's not always about La Maglia now, and it's always about what can I win and where can I advance my career the most. So unfortunately for Federico Chiesa, it was not Juventus, and it was not Fiorentina, and now it's Juventus, and let's see what gives. But the kid, his younger brother, still playing at Fiorentina, does not deserve that stupidity.
And it's unfortunate that, Steve, this is never going to stop. Not in the foreseeing futures, that people like just to be trolls online, right? We've seen it. We've seen it with us, not to that level there, but that's pretty sad. I'm gonna go again with this whole. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go. My indigestion of the week is gonna have to be with this whole. I don't understand why there was not a lot of talk about it, where supposedly Juventus broke COVID protocol while they were some Juve players were out, and I just saw one article but never followed up from over there, and I just had a feeling that, like, I don't understand why they're not talking about this. This happened over a week ago, and I just have a feeling, and I'm not the Tommy type that, it's fuck Juve and fuck this and fuck that. I just don't understand why. I just have a feeling that if it was any other team, they would have been still talking about it today.
Guaranteed. If it was any other team, this would have been plastered even on our podcast. It would have been a subliminal message at the bottom. Milan broke COVID rules, and it's crazy. So what's funny about this is that the people who broke the COVID rules at Juve were then allowed to go to the national team.
Yeah, it didn't, like, I was just trying to make sense of it, and it's just like I don't understand why nobody spoke about this in further detail.
This is constant Italian media where they're afraid to write negative things about Juventus because of Juventus's reach, and I'm talking Agnelli and Fiat and that reach there. And it's sad because this is something that it's not a joke, right? We talked about at the beginning of the show. This is not like Bonucci getting an ankle injury and still showing up at the national team and playing with tape on it. No, this is Juventus players breaking the COVID rule that they were not supposed to break, possibly getting affected with COVID, then getting on whatever bus or train they have to go, going to the national team facility, possibly infecting all of our national team, and no one is saying anything about it. But then there's two Napoli players that have a problem, or there's the Genoa problem, and it hasn't stopped. It just continuously gets talked about all the time. So you need to treat, this is all what I continue to say about Serie A, and being someone who's very hard on Serie A. If they don't come into the future and stay in this archaic past that they're in, this league is in big trouble, guys. The Serie A is in big trouble.
How about a feel-good moment, Steve? Yeah, I'm going to have to, my Biroshka of the week is going to have to be with Theo Hernandez saying that, he's going to, if we make Champions League, he's going to paint his hair red and black and, with a crest on it. And then Diaz saying, hey, you know what, if we do it, I'm going to do the exact same thing. Not the actual action, but having players, like when was the last time you saw a player that's, showing his love and support for Milan, talking about I didn't come here on a short term, I'm here for a long term, I love the project. Just a great feeling to read these kind of things. But it was pretty funny to, and now I hope we not only that I always hope, but I hope to see that if we do qualify for Champions League. So definitely nice to read and what they declared.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I like that, taking it down a notch and changing the air before the derby, before everything gets really, really intense this week. And there's one more national team game on Wednesday, so I expect Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday we're talking about the national team, and then starting Thursday it's all about who's gonna come in to buy Milan, who doesn't like who in the locker room of Milan, who has COVID and passed it on to someone else, who is unhappy with Maldini. Elliot is pissed off at the type of cannolis that they brought into the meeting. Just ridiculous stupidity like that, right? We're getting ready for that.
Manipulating what we get to read and information. How about you, Steve? Anything in particular, Brioche, a feel-good moment for this week?
Yeah, I like the Theo Hernandez thing.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool for me, guys. I like watching the national team, and I like watching the U21 do good and do well. Look, I hated the friendly, to be very honest, Joe. But it was nice to see someone like Caputo get in and into the friendly and make and it's not Milan related, but it's Italy related. Someone who's been a voyager of Serie B and Serie D and Serie C, and so now in Serie A with Sassuolo, and he becomes almost that Luca Toni type of striker that he gets better with age. So it was pretty nice to see Caputo get some goals.
Definitely. And Steve, let me finish off. Let's have a quick laugh here, Steve, and I want to show you from the 2003 Champions League final, and I want you to take a look at you'll see, and we'll do a comparison.
Can they 2003? No, not that one. But
no, it's a 2 minute. It's a 2 minute one because I want you to see Conte. I want you to see Conte in his hair. No, what do you want to see?
I just want them to stop talking about if Nedved would be in the final, that the result would have been
Oh.
different. He's not in the final. He was not in the
It's
final.
it
He got
it
the card.
It's
He got
crazy.
the card.
It's crazy because that's the first thing the commentator says. But I just want to let's have fun looking at his hair, Steve, and don't get mad. It's because it's I think it's actually what's his name, John Motson commenting. So let's have a look at that hair, guys, and let's see if we could compare to today's Conte's hair.
Second half, he certainly
Can you hear?
was hard
Yeah.
to spot in the first half when he definitely was on the pitch. But Carlo Ancelotti can be very pleased with the way his team performed.
He has more hair now.
The survivors from the last Juventus side that won this competition in 1996.
You had to fix it. You had to fix it over there.
Long time servant.
How old was he at this time?
Oh, last survivor of the team that actually won this tournament. He must have been like 40 in that team.
Exactly. So I just wanted to finish off with that to have just a little a good laugh, Steve. So guys, to every one of you always listening to us, watching us, the downloads, especially even the on Patreon. It's so humbling to see this every single time. We had a good time on Saturday, Steve, trying to rebook the movie The Expendables with the Milan players. Tommy obviously had to tell him, don't come out with somebody from the 1960s. Imagine if I had Frank and Tommy at the same time. They would have come up with the obscures. And but we had a good time. So now the internet is working fine, guys. Hopefully, it will stay this way. But thank you to everybody, and Steve for. I know we can't see each other for the derby, but we cannot do a watch along either because we would have to have that camera that follows us. Because when I watch the game, we gotta be in the zone. We can't be paying attention to a camera from over there. But any closing remarks? So we bid them adieu.
Adieu and Forza Milan, guys, and leave it out. And derby time, wear your colors, wear them proudly. Derby della Madonnina, Forza Milan.
Let's beat those snakes, guys. Ovunque sempre.
Forza Milan!